All right, everybody, welcome to Fit Over 40. I'm your host, Coach Clarence, and I have a great guest in the studio today. We're not live, we're over the internet, so we don't get to have the in-studio antics that we typically have. But I am speaking with Rachel Lavin. She's a published author of the Doughnut Diaries, which I think is a fascinating subject. I like glazed donuts, so I'm going to have a few questions about that. She is a professional speaker and body love educator. More questions on that as well. She's also a certified personal trainer, my old job, and a certified health coach, kind of sort of my side hustle, if you will. How are you, Rachel?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing good. So why don't you let the audience know a little bit about yourself and definitely tell us about the Doughnut Diaries.
I will. Well, you kind of given people a little preempt to my bio, but I have been in the fitness industry for over 20 years, doing all the things. And when I realized that I was going to be handed a bunch of time in 2020, I said, you know what? I think now's the time. I want to do my book. And the beautiful part of when you kind of put things out in the universe, it either says, yes, let's do it, or it says, no, let's don't. And I didn't have any roadblocks. It was just easy. And before you know it, it was 2021 and my book was a real thing and out in the world. And it was a pretty cool experience. I wrote the book because I myself, being a female in the fitness industry, have struggled with my own body weight, body image, how to lose weight, how to keep it off, and all those things. And at 40 years old, I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I want to be happy. How do I live my best healthy life without worrying about all this crap? Mm-hmm. And so I started doing some work on myself, healing some things that needed to be healed and learning some new ways of how to treat myself and treat my body. And I've been on that journey for about 11 years now.
Mm. All right. So tell me about the Doughnut Diaries.
Well, everyone loves the title and it is a cute title, but for me, it's personal. It's something that I loved to do when I was a little girl. My uncle would take me, if you're from California, you know Winchell's Donut House, and we would go and get a donut, and it was just a fond memory. And of course, when you get older and you start to diet and all those things, you don't eat donuts, right? And when I decided that I was no longer going to live on restrictive diets anymore, a donut was the first thing I had. And I ate it mindfully. I ate it slowly. I ate it without shame and realized that it was something that I could have in my life when I wanted it and just let it be the thing. It was a thing. It's, it didn't have to make me feel bad.
Mm-hmm. So the Doughnut Diary is more really just about you coming to this understanding of where you were as you matured in life. Not so much about how to eat donuts. Because when I first read that, I thought, man, I like donuts. I like glazed donuts. I just go have one. I tell people, don't give the donut that much power. If you want one, go eat one. Just don't eat them every day, all the time, and then you got problems. So the Doughnut Diary, when I first saw that, I thought, I wonder, did she have a secret obsession with donuts? Like, I'm curious to get a little more background on that.
I mean, not a secret obsession, but my little story I just told you, it was something I loved. Then it turned to something was shameful. And then I decided to come back around and love them again.
So let me ask you about that. What was shameful about the donuts? What do you feel like you were putting the shame on yourself or other people were?
I was definitely doing it to myself, and I was allowing other people to do that to me. Yes.
Mm. Oh, because of the profession. You're like, hey, I'm a trainer, I'm a health coach, but I also like donuts. So people were saying.
Yes, but it was a little deeper than that. And I'm sure if anyone has been in my shoes and struggled with their body, 90% of the time, it's yourself putting out into the world, I'm so fat. I know I've gained weight. I know I know, all those things that you say out loud, which I've learned through this journey that, you're inviting people's opinion about you into your own craziness and your own, I don't know how else to put it, but your own craziness. And when I decided that I was going to just stop this behavior and figure out what was really going on, one of the first things I had to do was stop looking outside myself for other people's opinions and input and things like that.
I see. One of the things that jumped out at me when I was going through your information was the body love. Talk about body love and what that means to you and how you use that to help people that you coach.
Absolutely. I mean, as you know, for someone yourself who's been in this industry for I don't know how long, I'm sure as long as I have, you've heard little whispers of body positivity or love your body at any size. And I realized that when I really decided to dedicate myself to this work, that those are just buzzwords and they don't really mean anything. And again, I know so many women have struggled with so many things about themselves and their bodies that just say that to them doesn't mean anything. Hey, just love your body no matter what. Okay, no. So when I mean body love, I really mean to love yourself from the inside out. Because if you don't love yourself, if I don't love Rachel as a human being, I'm never going to have a good relationship with my body.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. That makes sense. That's really a mindset piece, I think. How much do you think mindset goes into your coaching from when you first got into fitness?
I would say 90% of it.
Yeah. When did you realize that was the ticket to start seeing results? Because I'm sure you said you've been in business 20 years. One thing we know is that after a while, showing people how to do a squat, a lunge, or whatever, and eat certain things only goes so far. I know for me, the mental piece kind of came into the picture about 15 years ago. And at first it was all exercise or workout. If you're not doing that, you're just, you're a loser, whatever, until I started going, why are people not getting this? And it was more mental than let's talk about a certain exercise you could be doing.
Oh my God, I love that you said that because it's so true. And I think still in our business, trainers and coaches are always trying to reinvent the wheel. And you can only do a squat like so many different ways. And that is the one piece as fitness professionals that we either don't choose to delve into or we don't delve into enough. Because 95% of the clients that are coming to us at that point are at their wits friggin' end. They're like, I've done every diet, I've done every workout, nothing is working. I need you to do it for me, basically. And so that to me is a sign of just literal feeling like a failure, feeling like you've exhausted every single resource. And it also proves that the information that's out there is not good and it's not true. Mm-hmm. So I almost, because I've been there myself and I know how exhausting it is to just feel like I can't do this anymore. But I also want people to understand that the good news is you don't have to. Mm-hmm. Once you just put the trust back in your body and put the idea into your mind that you're in this for life. You're here to take care of your body for the rest of your life and you got to eat every day. Sorry. So you might as well let it just be something that you do and just be okay with it.
Okay. So did you yourself personally struggle with kind of the yo-yo dieting, the back and forth?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I have been a size 0 and a size 12 and everything in between. Mm.
So how did you navigate that? Did you have personal coaching yourself or was this all just self-realization?
Of course. I've had trainers. Even when I was a trainer, I had a trainer. The disconnect for me as a person was I have to eat chicken and broccoli for the rest of my life. And I hate that. I resent it. I'm angry about it, and I have to work out like 9 times a week.
Yeah.
And I was putting all this pressure on myself because of the information that was coming at me, instead of just taking a beat and being like, no, we need to figure out what works for Rachel. We need to figure out what works for me right now. And then we have to, it's a process. Like, I'm 50 now. You cannot pay me. You cannot pay me to go take a class. Like, I used to be in hip hop classes, when I was in my 20s. No, I'm not doing that when I'm 50. I can't. So
what do you like to do? What's your mode of exercise? What's your favorite thing to do?
So now I'm just strength training.
Oh,
I mean, I have to throw in my cardio because I don't live in a big city anymore and I drive everywhere. So again, another thing I had to think about when I moved from New York City to South Carolina, it's like something is missing from my life, and that was cardio. I couldn't get up a flight of stairs without like huffing, and I was like, oh shit, okay, now I got to do cardio.
yeah.
So when your life changes, so does your self-care.
What brought you to South Kakalaka from New York?
Ooh. Well, my boyfriend and I are both trainers, and when everything went down and we realized both of our gyms unfortunately shut down permanently, and we just really didn't have an idea of any kind when the city was going to open back up. And I wasn't going to sit in my apartment and pay an inordinate amount of rent when I had no idea when my life was going to come back. So we both decided to start over somewhere new. And after looking at a couple of different states, we settled on South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back in time. Rachel is 20 years old with the wisdom of a 50-year-old. What would you tell yourself?
Oh, God. I would say relax. Like, everything is going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Enjoy your life. Eat the donut. Move your body. It's all going to be okay.
What do you think as a female is the biggest issue? My audience is 40 and up that they are facing, and how do you address it?
Well, the biggest issue is that we still believe all the crap we believed when we were 20 about diet and exercise. So I'm imploring your audience it's time to recalibrate. It's time to rethink. It's time to reset. And it's definitely time to take into consideration that this is a long haul. This is a to the end of days kind of thing. And maybe be gentler with yourself. It's like, we don't have to rush and get ready for the reunion or rush and get ready for the wedding and then stop for another few. I mean, that behavior that we all do is not doing us any service. We need to just relax, eat good food, move our body that feels good, get rest. I'm a huge component of rest. I love my off days where I can just not even think about the gym. It really refreshes me. It makes me feel like I can't wait to get back into the gym the next day.
You alluded to this a couple of times. You mentioned gentle this time, be gentle yourself. Were you beating yourself up? Mentally, not so much physically, but mentally. Were you really just?
I was physically too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So was it like body image that you were beating yourself up, or was it? It sounds to me from what I'm hearing is like other people's standards were pushed on you, because once you started loving yourself, like you said, and accepting yourself, like me as a man, like I'm just not gonna have the biggest quads, let's say, because I grew up in that bodybuilding era, or maybe the biggest biceps, but I can love what I have that's good for me that maybe somebody else doesn't have. So how much of that did you think you were doing? Because it sounds to me like you were just applying other standards, and you finally say, hey, I'm just doing me, and this is who I am.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that the sooner women and men too, I'm realizing the longer I'm in this space that men have their body image issues as well. Yeah. But I feel like the sooner you can embrace what your genetic makeup is and only how to enhance that, instead of I really want J-Lo's butt, so I'm gonna do nothing but butt exercises in the gym and then get pissed off because my butt still doesn't look like that. Like that whole vicious cycle is something that I would love to ask people, really kind of look at what your body looks like, you know? And for me, it was I unfortunately was not born with the gift of natural thinness. It's not a put down, it's an exception and a realization that I have to work at my body. I have to move my body for it to be its best self. And I accept that now.
Mhm. What's your demographics of the clientele you train right now?
Right now, I am all over the map. I'm working with little girls, I'm working with teenagers, and I'm also working with women my age and older.
What are you seeing that teenagers and the younger girls are dealing with right now in
It's
this climate?
it's a shit show. It's a shit show. The TikTok and the social media, it's really putting a lot of pressure on them. More so than the pressure we had in my day where it was just magazines and TV. Now they have that and social media to contend with. And girls, under 20 years old are obsessed with the body and the butt, and I gotta look like this, and I gotta do, and it's just, I have a lot of work to do.
So do you deal with most of these people online or they come to see you in person?
Both, both.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
good. So how do you address what you see on social media? Like I have my youngest is 16, and yeah, they are on TikTok, Instagram. They're seeing influencers, if you will, and some of the body types are unrealistic. And we know, being in this industry, people don't look like the way they look. They didn't just wake up. They didn't do a 21-day program or a 6-week program. They've been at it after a while. How do you speak to a young teenage girl about her body? I mean, what if she's taller, more athletic, or what if she develops more than the
Mhm.
girls around her? How do you approach that part of your business?
Well, I've realized that disparaging another woman is the wrong way to get through. I think that it's important for them to realize that social media is not real, and what they present is the best angles, the best whatever, the best lighting. I mean, a lot of these girls who are influencers, as you like to say, have the most perfect setup. They have the lighting, they have the camera, they have, so that part of it is not real. And then I also tell them that you're wasting your gift of life by wishing you were someone else. Why not put the time and energy that you're wishing that you had her life into making your life the best life?
Yeah, and we don't know what that life is like when that camera goes off and that Zoom shuts down. You don't know. So that's a good point. I actually like that quote. I'm gonna steal it just so you know. So I already warned you.
It's yours. Take
You're
it.
wasting your life wishing you had someone else's. But that's so true. And it reminds me of that saying, comparison is the thief of joy. Because
Mhm.
that's what people do on social media. You see family, they're on vacationing somewhere, and you're thinking, oh, our life sucks. We can't afford to go on vacation. Or look at her butt, or look at her abs, or look at his, and we don't look at our situation. And like you said, you don't know what's happening, what that person's going through. They might in your mind have the best body, the best look, and they could be depressed, like the guy who was Ella's DJ. Everyone thought he had the greatest life, and he was depressed. He killed himself. See, we don't know, so that's tough. Now, I don't train people that young anymore, but we know that that's a demographic that's having a lot of issues with suicide and based on a lot of these things. Have you come across that, and how have you dealt with it?
Not in the women I've worked with in the recent past present. But interestingly enough, I'm working with a group of women here in Greenville that are in a recovery program for being sex trafficked.
Wow.
And for them, their feeling of despair and their feeling of not being in touch with their bodies is very, very great. And it's very real. And I can only imagine what they've been through. But for me to be able to sit there and hear their stories and not just want to like fix it for them is hard for me. But I know that they have to get there themselves. And all I can do is tell them that this takes work. This takes time. It is not a light switch. I'm sorry, I wish it was, but your body is literally recovering from everything it's gone through, and it's protecting you. So instead of being angry with it, I was always skinny. I was always this, and now I've gained all this weight since I got, and I'm like, yeah.
I can tell you what I've seen, men and women, there is a lot of trauma when someone walks into the gym in their 40s, 50s, 60s. There's stuff that's been buried for years, and it starts to show up when they start to make transformation. It's a big deal. That's why I love having these kind of conversations, because there's always someone who's listening going, yeah, that's me. That's what I'm going through, Talk to me again about body love and how you, when, let's say I'm a new client, and most times I think back when I was 20, I just think back, like, I was horrible. I was like, I'm going to do this and you're going to look like this. And these are all my goals. Like I'm just putting what I think they should be on. So now it's more like, what's really happening for you? What makes you happy? How do you address a new client? Do you have an onboarding process, or do you just bring them in and just start working with them?
Well, to be honest with you, I have taken a step back from actually personally training since I moved here, because I really am focused on this. And I have been spending, a lot of time getting on podcasts and figuring out how to promote my book. And so that has kind of been put on the back burner. But when I work with women who are coming to me for coaching about this, yes, absolutely. It's a conversation. It is, I need to know as much about you as you feel comfortable telling me today so we can move forward. Mm-hmm. I definitely do not do any kind of physical assessment. I was never really interested in that. Even when I was an active personal trainer, you would not find me and my female clients in the locker room with the tape measure. No, I never did that, because I think it's BS. And can you imagine how shameful that is? Like, it's
a lot of pros and cons. I used to do body fat measurements, and I got to a point where I stopped doing, because you were either going to walk out of there super happy, or you were going to be depressed. You're going to feel like a failure. And you and I both know there's so many things that go into inches, how much weight, water you hold, that's going to affect all those things. But unfortunately, the industry, how we came up in it, they put a lot of focus on that, because you want to try to show progress. Now, progress to me is like my knees don't hurt. I was able to chase my grandkids down the street, or I got out of bed without falling over. So my measure has changed quite a bit. So.
I agree with you 1000% on that. That was going to be the follow-up to what I was going to say, is like, are you living your life pain-free? Are you able to reach up to that cupboard and get the pasta down? If you're able, then you're doing great.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Yes.
All right. So I think people buy you versus what you're doing. So I always use the 4 technique when I have someone on. So talk a little bit more about your family. You're not married. You said you had a boyfriend. Do you have any children?
No kids, no pets.
What?
I know.
Have you ever had pets?
Oh yeah. I've had a couple of dogs in my lifetime. I love to be a dog auntie, but I don't want the responsibility.
Okay, that's fair enough. You're honest. You know how many people get dogs and then they go, wow, this is work. They see the cute videos and the little fun things dogs do, but when you have a dog full time, and I've had several, it's work. And if you're busy, you neglect them. So how long have you and your boyfriend been together?
We will be celebrating 10 years this August.
Wow. Now this is probably personal, but you can ask me, you guys plan on getting married, or it's just, hey, we're good where we're
at? Oh my God. Listen, speaking of like familial trauma, like he's got some weird thing, and he's like, every time we talk about marriage, he's like, Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, babe. It's like, that's his relationship guru, so whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I was married once very young, and so it's not something that I have to do. Of course, I love him and I would love to be married to him, but if that's something that we don't do, I don't care.
That's cool. All right, so what you do for occupation. So the R in the Ford is recreation. So what do you do when you're not coaching people, when you're not on podcasts, when you're not writing books? What do you do for recreation? What do you like to do?
Well, there's a couple of things I love to do, and this might sound weird, but like today, when we're done, I'm gonna go take a shower. I'm gonna put my hair up and do a mask and just like chill.
I love that.
Yeah, for me, that is just the ultimate relaxation after a long day about a whole bunch of talking. It just helps me kind of like quiet my mind and quiet my body. So I love to do that. But being fairly new in Greenville, I love exploring where we live. I've gone on a couple of day trips with my boyfriend or with my girlfriends and just like exploring the surrounding areas. I love that too.
Yeah, I think people think like our lifestyles are viewed as extreme, that when we have downtime, they think, what'd you go do? Did you hike Mount Everest? No, I laid down on some movies. I read a book. Like, it's the opposite. Like, we don't want to do nothing because we give a lot. I think in our industry, we give a lot to people, and recharging is super important. And I'm real big on that, like taking some time for yourself. So that's good you're doing that. All right, so tell me your dreams professionally and personally. That's the D in the Ford.
Okay, so professionally, I mean, out there, I see me being on the TED Talk stage someday very soon. In the meantime, I just want to keep helping people. And as I do that, my message gets more and more clear. So I'm grateful for that. And personally, I just want to continue to enjoy my life. I want to take care of myself the best I can so I can enjoy I mean, not that it's old, but I'm 52 now. And it's just like, you know what? I want to stay functional, and I want to stay on my feet, and I don't want to be dependent. So let's do that.
That's awesome. So if people are watching this, where can they follow you and find out more about you and be part of your journey?
Real easy. Rachel Lavin Wellness everywhere that you can possibly, well, that's not true. I'm not on TikTok, but Instagram, LinkedIn. Huh?
Dancing and
I can't. LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. That's where I draw the line on my social media. But my website is also Rachel Lavin Wellness.
Anything besides the current book? And by the way, how can I get a copy of your book and support you?
Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Okay, I'm gonna look that up.
And don't forget your spelling. I didn't realize this was such a happening, but I'm spelling Doughnut DOUGHNUT.
Okay. Well, I have that in my notes spelled just the way you do, so that's great.
Yay!
Diaries.
We're on the same page.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you spending some time with me, and I'm looking forward to reading your book. It's funny. I started a book 20 years ago, and I need to just finish it. So I've had several people like yourself that I've talked to. They're like, oh, I'm on my third, fourth book. I'm like, I got to get it together and get this first book done. So give me some, this is obviously off subject, but give me some tips on how you completed your book, because I know it's hard to sit down and really focus on that. How did you get through that process?
Well, I will be honest with you, Clarence. This is a tad bit of a long story, so I'll hurry up and try to.
You're fine. Go ahead.
But I was in the same boat as you. It's like, I have this idea, I want to do this, but I don't know where a period goes or a semicolon goes. So I can't do this. And I was talking to a girlfriend, and she said, there's a friggin' publisher out there that my friend used, and all you do is you speak your story. They transcribe it for you, send you a manuscript, and before you know it, it's a book. And I was like, what? So next day on the phone with him, had the conversation. Next week after that, started the process. When I got the manuscript and I read through it, I guess I didn't realize that it was going to be every little thing I said. So every and blah, blah, and it was in there. And I said, before this gets out of hand, let me just take it and put my spin on it. So they created a beautiful foundation for me, and I'm very happy about that. But I ended up rewriting it, and then they edited it. They picked out the book art or whatever you call it, and then they publish it for you. So it was a full service publishing thing, and I'm happy that I went that way the first time. But now that I'm like been in this and doing all this stuff, I don't think I'll do that for the next thing.
Do you think you're going to sit down and just put pen to pad or I guess on the computer typing now?
Yeah, because now that I know you can just kind of hire an editor and then self-publish, there's so many routes. Like, my advice to you is pick like 5 publishers, call them, ask them what their process is and how much it is, because it's the most expensive business card you'll ever make.
I'm sure. But you know what? When you write a book, you become an expert, and that follows you wherever you go. Author, published author is a great acronym to have behind you. So that's awesome.
It is, but I also will give you a very interesting piece of advice. You have to stay on it. You do, because publishers like to say, oh yeah, we're going to do this and do that and get you on this. Publishers don't understand marketing, and they really don't have any business saying that they do. So if you don't want your book to just kind of sit there and collect dust, you have to make things happen.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, again, appreciate all that. It was nice talking to you, and I look forward to following you. I followed you already, so you might have me I might show up in the spam, who knows? But
we're following each other.
Oh, okay. All right. I can't. I'm doing so much crazy stuff. Now there's Thread, and I'm getting messages all day with this new Thread thing. Anyway, they're supposed to be taking over Twitter. So I don't know. It's crazy out there. But anyway, I appreciate that. And I look forward to reading the diary of the donuts, because I'm a donut fan. And you should never be ashamed to eat donuts. Just don't eat them all the time.
Well, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And it was lovely chatting with you too.
Sure.
Hey, if you liked the video, you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe and follow us, and you'll get notifications every week when a new podcast drops. Also, be sure to check out www.coacheschronicles.com. That has all my podcasts for the last 4 years. We look forward to having you, and thanks again for watching. And hey, leave a comment if you have a question or you have a show idea. Leave that too. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to, again, subscribe and like the video. It helps the channel. You know how it goes.